Welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris on. Today we're going to be continuing our series of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. Today we're going to be talking about the law of sacrifice, essentially talking about if you want to go up, you have to give up as a leader. Now, there's so many aspects to this that a lot of people think they understand, especially when it comes to leadership. I did as well, and it wasn't until I read this actual chapter that I recognized what it was that I was working for and what it was that I was eventually going to have to give up. See, every leader will face the law of sacrifice sooner rather than later. In fact, if you want to move up, sacrifice more of your time, sacrifice more of your emotions, sacrifice more of your money. The more sacrifices that you put in, genuinely speaking, the more opportunity you have for success. You're never guaranteed it, however, sacrifices can increase the odds. For example, no matter what, if you're looking towards investing into real estate, the less money you put in, the less likely that you're going to get out more. If you have more money to basically put in, the more likelihood you're going to get a giant and bigger return on whatever it is that you're investing. Same with your time. The more that you put in, the more that you get out, and so on and so on and so on. If you want to sacrifice your relationships, your fun times, your entertainment, and so on, eventually you're going to get a larger return for whatever investment you put in. And that is the consistent reality of success. It's not necessarily guaranteed in terms of the sacrifices that you do put in. However, success is all about stacking odds. And in terms of odds, it's essentially luck. So you make your own probability based on how much effort and sacrifice that you put in to whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish, no matter what it is, whether it's sport, whether it's ministry, whether it's business, whether it's relationship. If you want your relationship to grow and prosper, you have to sacrifice a level of time, thought, effort, and put it into that in order to make sure that it's flourishing and continually growing. Same with your business. If you want it to grow, you have to continually look towards investing your time towards yourself, maybe giving up more of your money in order to basically on the hopes of reaping a bigger benefit. The only way to sustain success at your organization is if you, the leader, are willing to make personal sacrifices for the good of the company. Consistently, so many people have this misconception about moving up in terms of success. What the truth is that the more successful you become, the more responsibility you have to put on, which means that the more and more sacrifice you have to go into. I know me personally, I thought that success meant that the higher I go up, the less responsibility do you have, or at the very least, the less stress, when in reality, it's the polar opposite. The only difference is you become better equipped with dealing with stress so it feels like less. In fact, the only way to get around that in terms of becoming more successful and yet having more of your free time is utilizing the next law that I'm going to be talking about, which is the law of exponential growth. The law of exponential growth coupled with the law of reproduction essentially talks about developing other leaders. And when you develop other leaders, you share the roles of sacrifice, and that is the only way in order to reach a certain level where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor earlier rather than later. If you're looking towards retirement, because retirement is a mindset, it's not necessarily an age, the only way to attain that earlier outside of just getting large sums of money, genuinely most people do it through developing their business, developing their companies, is by sharing the sacrifice through the leaders that you develop. So along the way, in order to avoid this vicious cycle of the law of sacrifice where you're constantly having to sacrifice your time in order to move up, and the only way to sustain it is by consistently sacrificing, you have to look towards developing leaders. That's the only way around it. There is no success without sacrifice, though. Do not mistake that in order to get to the highest level, you have to give your highest sacrifices. Leaders are often asked to give up more than others. You must keep giving in order to stay continuously up. The higher level of sacrifice, the higher the level of leadership, the higher level of success. And that's unfortunately the truth. And there may be times where you ease up and there may be times where you don't. But in order to maintain that consistent level, you need that consistent level of sacrifice. And it's tough, but it's the role of a leader if you want to basically benefit from that success that is gained from it. See, no matter what role you are, you have to look towards sacrificing the most. If you're not, then you aren't the true leader. Always look towards being the person who puts up majority of their time, the majority of their effort, whether it's through your marriage, whether it's your kids. Now, I understand that maybe you might be in a position where you refuse to give up, and that's okay. If you don't want to put in more than 40 hours into your business, if you don't want to put up time that you want to be spending with your kids, or you don't want to put up social outings and so on, and birthdays and everything like that, that's understandable. But just understand you will also be limited within your success. So, how do you find the happy medium? Well, two things. I would suggest writing out your values, morals, and beliefs, things that you are non-negotiable on giving up. Whether it's certain events, certain circumstances, certain aspects of your life that you just refuse to not give up. That way, whenever it comes to that decisions, you've already made it, and you don't have to fret on any type of law of priority issues when it comes to that decision making for the law of sacrifice. The next thing that I'd suggest doing is basically understanding what it is that you are willing to give up. What are the aspects that you're prepared to give? Because there is a large difference. And finally, focus on developing other leaders. That is the only way to get around this law of sacrifice. See, so many people get caught into these organizations, these pits, these points where essentially they're the man, they're the person, they're the magic of the business. They are only, if they are not present, their business does not perform at the highest level. They are consistently struggling and stagnating, and if not dying, if basically the man of the business or company or person of the business is not present. Now, the only way to get around this, where you sacrifice less but still attain a gradual growth, is by utilizing the exponential growth. That basically means you prep people and develop leaders within your organization in order to share the sacrifice. So hopefully one day, eventually, not straight away, but over the period of time, you would have developed a bunch of individual leaders who are able to take care of certain aspects of the business, hopefully a majority, so that you can still reap the similar benefits of being the number one leader within the organization without having to sacrifice everything that you need in order to make sure that you attain that. How often enough do you see people who are working all the way up until the ages of 70 rather than enjoying the fruits of their labor? Well, this is because they didn't utilize the law of exponential growth and reproduction. The law of sacrifice states that in order to get, you must give up. Sometimes the very thing that you're refusing to give up and want the most is the thing that you do in order to achieve an abundance of it. Whether it is time with family, whether it is time with kids, sometimes you do have to give up a certain period of your life. I'm not saying it's forever, but maybe it's maybe even a year, 2, 3, maybe even 5, depending on what business that you're in order to live in an abundance of it. And I understand it's tough, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. But this is the role of the leader. This is one of the non-negotiables. If you as the leader are not making the most sacrifices within your organization, then you aren't the true leader, and your organization will be limited to whatever sacrifices that you did give. So be prepared. If you do go into the world of business, understand no matter what it is, be prepared that you're not going to only have to sacrifice your money. Because money, that's probably one of the easiest things to sacrifice once you have an abundance of it. Most importantly, when you're going up, it's your time. Your time is an investment and is what is going to give you the most return on whatever it is that you put in. I've spoken this in previous videos, but the thing about commodities and the most valuable ones is that the difference between other ones, whereas cash, diamonds, and gold, you can sort of put it on a desk and expect it not to do anything. It might go up and down with inflation. For the most part, it's not going to disappear. The thing about your time is that it's always being spent. You're always going to get a return of an investment, whatever it is that you're putting towards, whether it's your time and family, whether it's the gym, whether it's your health, or whether it is your business. The thing about whenever you're running an organization, whenever you're running a team, whenever you're running a business, it requires your time. You have to be the person who's putting in the most hours, especially if you're on the come up, especially if you're utilizing the big Mo and a few of the other laws of success that I was talking about previously. You have to actively be the person on the front lines, giving it their all. The Spartans used to talk about how they would never ask their people or their followers things that they wouldn't do themselves. Well, that's the sort of mindset that you need to have as a leader. If there is ever a time that you're leading a person or leading your followers or leading the leaders into a certain battle or aspect of the business that you aren't comfortable with yourself, then that's an indication that you need to go through it first. You as the leader should have experienced at least once every aspect of the business, so you understand the sacrifices that is necessary for the leaders that you're developing. Then and only then can you be well-rounded and speak with conviction whenever it comes to talking about handling these adversities. So if you're not prepared to do these types of aspects of the business, or whether it comes to growing your community, growing your organization, growing your business, I highly suggest you reorganize your goals, because it is such a pivotal part of becoming a leader and of becoming a success. If you look at any successful person, whether it's sports stars from Kobe Bryant to Elon Musk and the upcoming billionaires in the world, no matter what, every aspect of them always sacrificed a large and incredible amount of their time. Bill Gates was seen sleeping on his desk. Elon Musk was seen sleeping on his desk on the come up. These are all people who are willing to give up all social outings, all social gatherings, any type of essential short-term entertainment and happiness in order to make sure that they were going to achieve their goal, and it was no question. Their odds were 100% stacked in their favor. It was just a matter of time before they developed the level of success that they were looking for. And this is what you need to look towards developing within your organization, your business. Understand that success is probability, and the way that you increase that probability is through the more that you sacrifice. You get in what you put out. It isn't chance, it isn't luck, it is probability. And you need to stack your odds through making sure that you're constantly sacrificing the most and as possible, as much as you can, in order to ensure that you will occur and you will achieve what it is that you're looking at to accomplish. Anyways, guys, that's it for the law of sacrifice on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Success by John C. Maxwell. I highly suggest you do read in depth the book because there's so much more that it talks about and specifics and positions that you can be in to make sure that you're actively looking towards putting yourself in a better place for improvement and a position for success. If you like what we're talking about and the continuing series, I highly suggest you like, comment, subscribe, share with someone if you think that it might be able to help them. But other than that, guys, I'm Quick Notes with Croissant. I'll be uploading a few more videos after this, so stay tuned. And once again, I'll see you in the next one, and I appreciate you watching. All right, thanks, guys. See ya.